Hello everyone and welcome back to our series of interviews for VAPEXPO 2026. I'm joined by Vincent from the ECCC, the Chinese Commerce Chamber. Yeah? The CCC?
Almost correct.
Almost correct. So yeah, Vince, you're here to talk about vaping, to talk about the industry, and to talk about China because that's prevalent in our industry for a long time, and we're gonna have a discussion that's very interesting, I guess, about China vaping, what's happening, what's coming next, and all that,
Yes,
all that
for
good
sure.
stuff. So let's start with your organization first.
Okay.
What does it do? What does it serve?
Right. So first, thank you, David, for having me here.
No problem.
It's a great privilege for me to speak here. So about me and my organization, we are ECCC. So basically, it's China's only vaping industry association. We've been here in the industry for around 10 years, founded in 2017. What we are doing is to promote vaping, to, not just in China, but also around the world. As we know that for vaping, almost 99% of the products, especially devices, are manufactured in China and being exported around the whole world.
Mhm.
Now we have over 1,100 member companies. They are not just those big names that you have heard, like Vapeexpo or Expire, Elux, something else, but also e-liquid manufacturers, battery manufacturers, logistic companies, financial service providers, and also packaging, coil, so everything in this industry, in this value chain, they're all our members.
Okay, so it's one big association slash federation for the whole Chinese industry
Exactly.
that touches vaping.
Exactly, that's right.
From for everything. So yeah, that's massive. How many companies do you represent?
Yeah, so for the whole industry, we have had 1,131 members in China. For the big brands, as long as those products being sold in every market, they're all our members and they're being manufactured in China. And also in China, we have a kind of scheme called licensing. That if you want to manufacture a vape, you must have the license from the central government. Otherwise, it's illegal to manufacture or to do business about this. And for the license, that's in China, we have around 400, and they're all our members in China.
Okay, so if you have the license, it's per person, yeah? That's
right.
It's a person that has the license.
Right, so it's actually for a company. So one company that you are eligible to have one license, and then you can be involved into this manufacturing sector.
Okay. So yeah, one license per company.
Yes.
I heard there are changes coming from China,
Right.
And for your industry there.
Yeah.
Can you briefly go over these changes? With
Right,
me?
sure, yes. Changes is never new for our industry, as you are aware. If we go back to the very early time, vape, it was being invented in 2002 by Chinese chemists,
Yeah.
I think.
Hong
Hong Li, yeah, that's right. So we said that he was the father of vape. And then following him, several very early companies were in the market, like Kanga, like Expire, Hang Seng making e-liquids. So they started to be into this industry, but back in that time it was a very small thing. People were not aware of this kind of products. So that was like the Wild West in our industry back in that time. Everybody who were in this industry, they made a million, they made a big fortune out of it. And then when time comes to like 2016 to 2017, 2018, disposable products are getting really, really popular. Combined with COVID-19, this kind of requirements for vape products just rise dramatically. Everywhere you can see disposables in the US, in the UK, in Russia, everywhere. And even in China, that we used to have lots of vape products for smokers to use and try to switch from cigarettes to healthier products or harm-reduced products. And then in China, around 2018, 2019, the government has been really noticed about this kind of products and new industry, and every high-level government leaders, including finance, including taxation, including tobacco, bureau, or auditing, market surveillance departments, they all came to ECCC because they wanted to understand how this industry is like, the turnover, the products, the sales,
the size of the industry as well.
That's right, the size of this industry, the innovation and technology, and we were helping them to understand, building a bridge between our member companies with the government people, really helping them to set up the regulation in China, how to regulate this industry. So in 2022, formally, vape is regulated by China Tobacco Bureau, which is part of the Chinese government. And during that time, we have the kind of legal identity in China. So if you do vape, that you are allowed, but they also come with some limitation and restriction. So now the landscape is like Chinese companies are doing their best to manufacture vape products to serve smokers around the whole world. Right. But also the regulation is upgrading itself every year, every 2 years. They would need to get a new license to make sure they still have their place in this sector in China.
What's the criteria to get the license? Do you just fill a form, or do you have to show that your company is, profitable, or what's the hurdle?
Right. So the requirement or the criteria will be several things. First is that you need to have very healthy operation. That means you should have enough clients to survive financially, and also you need to have your capacity of manufacturing. The team for R&D, the team for manufacturing, that your factory is subject to the ISO certificates. So this is like the hardware requirement that you must be able to meet. And also you should not have any bad records in terms of you're doing illegal things, manufacturing bad products. So it's really setting the kind of thresholds for any players to be in the market. That if you get a license, that means at least you are able to do good things, so you are able to be compliant. Okay,
and the government can take the license anytime?
Right, so if you make some mistakes, like you be involved into some kind of illegal activities, or suddenly you lose your clients, you're not able to survive, and then your license will be taken back, and you will not be allowed to really get a new one because you are in the record of the government.
So we had a lot of Chinese brands coming here.
Yep.
And they were talking about, the new products, the new things that are coming out. Some of them, and one of them, is Relax.
Okay.
Which is massive in China.
It is massive.
Yeah. They have, I think, 27,000 outlets in China, which is quite a lot. Did some of them close, or what changed with Relax relative to the Chinese market?
Right. So Relax used to be the biggest player of vape in our industry. They've sold lots of products before flavor ban came to effect, and they've got lots of shops, and it's increasing dramatically. That's why Relax went public in the US stock market. But the flavor ban is a big hit to their business within the domestic market. So now only tobacco flavor is allowed. They lost lots of clients, lost a lot of their profits and turnover. Now I think they are switching their direction from focusing on China's markets to overseas.
Yeah.
We heard that they've made a lot of big movements, like acquiring the biggest retailer in the UK, expanding their budgets or investments to overseas markets, and I think they're doing quite good. The operation, their management, and their strategy is really well informed. So I believe even though they are kind of half losing the Chinese market, they still have the other direction they can revive again.
Let's talk about batteries a bit.
Okay.
We were having a good conversation about batteries right before we went on air. Recycling and lithium capacity. Let's talk about that. In China, there's a lot of batteries being made.
Yep.
And you told me about a recycling way of doing things, because obviously there's a lot of disposables and there's a lot of batteries going out.
Yeah.
what's the efforts that are being made by China to recycle this, and is it possible even?
That's a very, very good question, I think. So for the battery, it also took quite a long time to evolve into a kind of stable and safe situation. So several years ago, if you have heard that there's lots of accidents about battery, fire accidents or explosion. Back in that time, the quality was not really stable, so bad things happened. And it really touched the nerve of our Chinese manufacturing, because when we sell products, we not just want the money, we also want to guarantee that the products could be safely with the clients for a long time, longer than they expect. So for the last 10 years, Chinese battery companies are making heavy investments into the quality and the stability of the battery products. So now it's rare to see any problems about battery on news or on the consumers' daily basis. So that's a proof that we have done a good job in guarantee the safety and stability of the battery products. But now when we see the disposables on fire everywhere, it comes with another question: how to deal with the used products, how to recycle the key part of those used products, which is the battery. We have several members already taking on the lead to deal with that. One of them is Elux. They are a very responsible company, thinking about this in the long run. So they have made several movements, like establishing a scheme or campaign to recycle used products, working with retailers in the UK. And they also got the certificates from the UK government that they're allowed to export used products of vape outside UK. And they've also got a license in Indonesia to import those used battery products to be kind of disposed and classified and reuse those products that are still valuable to be reused in Indonesia. But now the issue is really about the balance of costs and the benefits. Taking
is it
things
profitable
back.
to recycle rather than go from scratch and create a new battery?
Exactly. So now maybe they still struggle about that, but I believe it takes time when Chinese companies are making some automated machines to dispose products rather than assemble products. And when those kind of products could be used, in a larger scale, the cost will come down. And as you mentioned already, that's those lithium mines or those kind of natural resources, they have their limits. It's not like we can use as much as we want. So when we have a kind of limits about those resources, and they will be more expensive to manufacture new batteries, then those recycled batteries will be sold at a higher price and the balance could be reached. So we are looking forward to really see that day.
Yeah. I mean, we will come to that one time, because obviously, there's batteries everywhere.
That's right.
Everything uses a battery now.
Yeah.
There's only so much lithium on Earth
That's
that
right.
we can use. So
exactly.
But it's not yet profitable. So what do? They stock it, waiting for the price to go down or to the price of batteries to go up, and then use these recycled products? Is that
right? So
is that a thing?
I think waiting is really not a good solution, because every day you waste, there's a cost that you need to pay. The rent of the warehouse, the cost for laborers, everything. So that's why I think Elux and other companies and our membership is really responsible for that. They're losing money to that, but they're still happily doing it, because they could take some of the profits or the other sector, like selling vape products, into this to fund this as a kind of non-profit project at this moment.
Okay. So right now they're losing money doing this.
That's what I heard, yes.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. But that's a way of doing things, and maybe that's the way forward as well.
Exactly.
I have another question. Considering you have everyone in your association in China,
okay.
Basically what you have is the size of the whole world industry of vaping.
Yeah.
So how much money does it weigh?
Right.
How much does it weigh? Because we don't have any numbers. We know the numbers per country. But if you have the number from China, then you know.
Yeah. Right. So about this, we could not really get the very accurate number, because there are so many definitions about the volume and the money. For example, we talk about the French markets. We know it's like 1.2 billion euros, right?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Yeah, so that really is about the retailing price, about the price of sales. But when we talk about China, it's more about the costs or the money for manufacturing, or FOB or stuff like that. I think every year the exportation of vape would be like probably, if I'm not wrong, maybe. So I'm just trying to transfer from Chinese currency to euros. It would be maybe 8 billion, 9 billion euros. You heard this is not big, right? But it's just
manufacturing.
So it's just the exportation.
Yeah, there's no margin on this.
Yeah, but if we consider about the supply chain, right? Because every layer of the supply chain, we'll need to source products from the lower layer. And so if we consider about the battery, the logistics, the coil, the nicotine, the source of nicotine, and everything together, I think they would be massive, maybe 10 or 20 times more than that.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. So 20 times 8.
Yeah.
That's
Could
a lot.
be like that, yes.
Yeah, that's a lot. But that's massive. I mean, vaping is now a massive industry. So it weighs a lot. So much that the government decided to step in and say, well, it's a big thing that's happening in China. We need to monitor that.
Exactly, I think.
And you guys are part of this, yeah?
Right. So I think you're absolutely right. The industry is growing very fast, and it has really reached to a level that no one could really ignore. Not just in China. I think other countries are paying more attention to it, coming with new regulations, thinking about taxation, thinking about protecting the consumers, and promoting technological advancements. And for ECCC, one of our roles or major works is to support and empower the government to come up with correct and reasonable regulations and good policies to support the good industry, because the industry is very sensitive and special. People might think, okay, it's another secret, but it's actually not. It's really protecting lives and saving lives, because we are partnering with one of the former executive president of WHO, Mr. Derek. He told us that I should say thank you to Chinese vape companies, because you are saving lives. For the next 10 years or 20 years, you'll be saving millions of lives from smoking.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's right. So I think...
and that's someone from the WHO who told you this?
Yeah, that's right.
Damn.
So
they changed their discourse since then. He should come back.
Unfortunately, he has retired. But this kind of mindset people should have.
Yeah. But the WHO is not really favorable for vaping, which is really dramatic.
That's right.
Considering it saves lives. Actually, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So that's good information. He should come forward more often.
I'd be very happy to coordinate.
That would be nice. I would like to have him somewhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes in interview saying that.
Yeah.
That would be very powerful.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Vincent. Did you have something else you wanted to add?
Right. So because I think for ECCC, our end game or our goal is not really for our profits or for one country's development. It's really for the whole industry, because vaping is special. Yes, it's made in China, or most of them are made in China, but it's a global endeavor.
Well, all of it is made in China.
Okay.
let's be upfront about it.
Right. So what we hope to see is that under the situation, everything is really well connected between this country and that country. What we need is like the global unity. And we do hope that we can see that we can have more partners joining our cause, joining our efforts in protecting this industry. And as ECCC, what we have is a resource in China, the connection with those important people and leaders in our industry.
Yeah.
So we always welcome the industry experts like David Yu, thank you very much. And other elites everywhere to really promote the communication with us, or even come to China, come to Shenzhen to see how the vape factories is doing now, what they are investing into.
Yeah.
Maybe it will change some kind of understanding about the vape or China's making products, and we are very happy to serve as the window to make that happen.
Yeah, but we'll be glad to come to China and film all that. I'm pretty sure we'll be amazed.
Yeah.
Because China is massive. I've lived there. I know. it's nothing compared to France. But France is really, really small compared to China. But yeah, you have to see these factories to believe it, actually.
That's right. And we also want to see that there'll be more partnership, maybe not just among associations, but also companies in terms of the commercial purpose. Because what we hope to see is a healthy ecosystem.
Yeah. Do you sometimes try to talk with governments or lawmakers from other countries, coming from China, being representative of the industry? You try and have this kind of dialogue with executive people or people in power?
Right. So I think ECCC has been serving as a consultant in this industry to the high-level people and the government sides in China to give in the newest information, the new data, how the market is changing, and what kind of opportunities is lying ahead for our companies and for really the whole industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been doing that for a very long time. That's why we maintain a very good relationship to every level of the governments, covering so many different departments.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what you do, actually.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Vincent, for your time.
Thank you, Dave, for having me.
It was a great honor to have you here. I guess we'll see each other pretty soon.
Yes.
Be it in China or in France, but we'll see each other even on the channel, maybe. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'll see you soon, Vince. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to this.
Thank you, everyone.
And stay tuned for more information. I'll see you soon in a new interview. Bye-bye.
Bye.